Hey, what's up, everyone? So I kind of just wanted to shed a little light as to today's market activity regarding AMC and GME. Obviously, there's been all this media craze and frenzy behind those two particular stocks. And I noticed something particularly interesting for AMC. AMC, I just wanted to enter a position in AMC just to ride the wave and profit, get a little profit and money. So I looked to enter the position yesterday and I monitored it today and I found something quite interesting and I kind of wanted to shed some light on it. Of course, when I look to enter trades and exit trades, I typically try to look at the daily charts and the 4 hour and intraday charts to sort of figure out when to enter and exit my positions. But given that this stock is moving the way it did or has, um, namely extremely volatile, you can't really get too much information from this. So I kind of went into the 5 minute charts and to get a little more granular with the data. And so I looked to enter a position in AMC, kind of just like a YOLO thing, yesterday, which is right here, this segment right here. And so in order for me to enter a position, I had to look at previous data and sort of figure out what is a good price for me to buy in. Because I typically, I don't like to enter positions in any stock unless I feel like I'm getting like a good price. And so what I try to do is I look at previous market data because that's essentially all I have to work off of and and mark support and resistance levels. So support and resistance levels are sort of areas in which the price action sort of reverses direction. So namely, so if you're coming from a low and going towards a high and bounce back down a couple times, wherever you're bouncing off down from, that's sort of what's called a resistance level. And then the reverse applies when you're sort of high and you're coming down and you bounce back up. That's a couple times that wherever you're bouncing back up from, that's sort of a support level. So what I did was yesterday, I work a full-time job, so I couldn't really monitor markets all day. So what I did was I sort of entered some price points. So right here, you have the stock go up and it sort of goes sideways for a couple bars and then it pops up. So this is around the 688 level. I roughly 670 level. I typically tend to round up, and so I call this a resistance level, and now maybe a support level. Now here we popped up, and we bounced back down, popped up again, and then bounced sharply down. So I was like, okay, so somewhere around here, you have a resistance level, right? Because it's the stock price is being resisted at that price level. And so I looked at pre-market data, and I noticed here there's probably a, a resistance level here, right? Because the stock goes up and then it comes down and it goes up. It kind of you have this red bar and this green bar here, and then just shoots back up right past that level. Obviously, these numbers are rough estimates, and it's not set in stone, but it just gives me a rough idea of when to enter a position or exit a position. And obviously, you have your all-time high, but I try to focus on the bodies of the candles. Okay, so the day starts, and I know what the high is before the market starts, and I know where previous support and resistance levels are. So the day starts. The stock goes down, it comes back up, stops pretty much at this prior resistance level, and then it just comes crashing down to the support level from this previous day, around 1172. I was like, okay, that is a good price to buy. That's what I told myself. 1172, that's a good price to buy. And so I looked to buy around that price point, and obviously I never got to that price point. So I was like, you know what, YOLO, I'm gonna just buy and see what happens because I was like the way these stocks are moving, I kind of just wanted to participate in what's going on and I had play money is what I call it. And so I got in, I don't know, somewhere around here. I think it was right here. Um, and I bought a couple shares and just let the day ride out. So after market hours, we reached a high right before it closed. And so right after we close, we come essentially not crashing down, but we definitely come down. And notice how we come down and we come back up. We stop right at this price point, which is around 1686. I call it 1690. And then I did it again. And so that's a resistance level. That's a pretty strong resistance level. Comes back down, and then it comes all the way down to here, which is my prior support level. Um, so that was over here, and notice how this high over here sort of correlates with the this high over here, which was a close from the for the day. And so I was like, I bought shares and I kind of just monitored it a little bit, and I noticed something very interesting. So at market open, as you could see, we went pre-market, we went all the way up to close to $22, and then we came all the way down right to the support level that I marked in previous days. So notice how at market open, we shoot right up. Right from that support level, we shoot up. But notice how as we shoot up, volume is diminishing. So we're getting less and less volume as we reach these critical levels. And so that to me was sort of a red flag. And so I decided to open a short position because obviously I sort of YOLO'd it the day before and I think I was down a bit. So I kind of wanted to recoup my losses and in this play. So I still wanted to be long. I wanted to ride the wave, but I wanted to recoup some of my losses that I incurred for not entering at a decent price the day before. So what happened was we went all the way down. So I shorted from here all the way. I had my level at which I wanted to cover, which was right around this price point. So I shorted all the way up until we reached this price point, and we did right at this bar, right? And then, like I said earlier, I wanted to stay long. So I went back long because I thought that that was an excellent price based on previous support level. And so I went long. I actually doubled my position and I was wrong. It kept going down and it kept going down and down. And as it's going down, I noticed that they were halting a lot. Um, my broker kept halting. I'm pretty sure everyone else did. Actually, yeah, the trading on AMC definitely halted for everyone. Um, and so what happened was I was like, okay, well, I know where I can sort of double down and add to my position, which is at this price point because this was a prior support level. So I did. I waited for confirmation and I added to my position right on this bar. And we go up, we go up, we go up, and we come back down. And I was like, okay, you know what? Let me add more to the position because I was comfortable. I recouped some of my losses here. And I really, like I said, I wanted to stay long on the stock. So I wanted to go long again, right around this price point, around 680, 675. And so I looked to go long right here at this bar. I wanted to wait for a green bar for confirmation that we're gonna have a rebound. And so literally as soon as I try to put my order in, I got an interesting email from my broker. I use Tastyworks, particularly because I trade a lot of options, but I use Tastyworks and they sent me an email saying that Apex Clearing, which is their custodian, and they're a custodian for quite a number of brokerages. And what that means is they essentially just facilitate everything that's going on the back end for these brokerages. And so what they did was they essentially restricted trading on these three symbols. And what that meant was closing order status immediately, which meant that I can only close open positions. I couldn't open any new positions. And I was very frustrated. I was like, I want to buy more shares here. This is an excellent price. And so I thought that was extremely unfair. And I was like, what's going on? And I dug a little deeper and I looked at the 1 minute charts. And I noticed that the moment you got the green light symbol to enter a position, which is essentially the moment we reach the lows for the day, I and notice how this is actually the low. I mean, the low for this bar is 652. Either way, the moment we reach the daily low, which is where I wanted to enter a position, I get an email from my broker saying I couldn't trade. Or I could trade, but I couldn't buy. I had to sell only. And no, but so I'm pointing out the time here. I got the email at 11:23 a.m. and notice this bar, the low bar, which is where you wanted to enter a position, was exactly at 11:23. The time is up here. And notice how when I hover over this bar, it says it was at 11:23 a.m. So they restricted trading on this stock at the perfect time to buy. And I don't know why this happened, but I have my theories, and I truly believe that the market was being manipulated here because what this essentially allowed was for a lot of retail traders like myself, I had to sell. I had no other option. I had to either sell or hold. Those were the only two options I had. I couldn't buy, even though that's exactly what I wanted to do. So who was buying here? Obviously, hedge funds and or whoever, whatever brokerage allowed investors to buy AMC at that particular time. And so this stock literally started to rebound the moment they restricted, at least my brokerage restricted me from buying shares. And look what happens. I was obviously frustrated because I couldn't participate, I couldn't buy here. And look what happens. It goes up, up, and up, 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 and then it continues to go up for the rest of the day. And I think this is extremely unfair. This was when they restricted trading, and look what happens. It goes up, comes back down, goes up, comes back down, and look where it is. It's just going to keep going up. So what I think happened was at the perfect moment to buy, which is essentially at the cheapest prices you can buy in, these hedge funds kicked in and they started buying up shares, our shares, the shares that we should have been able to buy. They came in and bought them at dirt cheap values and essentially were allowed to double their money because look what happens. This was at essentially $7 a share, and look where we are now. We're almost at 13, we're at $12.50. And who knows where this is going to be in the morning. This is going to continue to go back up. So I really think that something strange happened at this particular time. And I don't know what's going on. I've always had my doubts of the markets. I've always thought that they were a little shady, but this is a huge red flag to me. Um, and I kind of just wanted to shed some light on it. Let me know what you guys think.